QPR, QPR, Six Park Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to Open All Ours, the QPR podcast. I am David Fraser. I'm joined tonight by a selection of other QPR fans. None of the regulars are here. Actually, we have we could say some semi-regulars, perhaps. Occasional popper-inners, maybe.
I'll go for popper-inner.
Occasional popper-inner. No regulars because they're all on holiday. They're all on holiday. Even Finney's been allowed one this year.
Are they on holiday together?
I'd like to think so. Wouldn't you? I'd like to think so. Actually, Chris Child is not on holiday, but he's working. I should say that because he'll point it out to me tomorrow. Anyway, so we have with us this evening Steve Sayce.
Good evening.
We have Gemma Fumagalli.
Hello.
You really don't like that surname, do you?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
Still, nothing's changed.
And are you Jim or James these days? Both. We have James Evans with us, and we also have Jim Evans with us.
Jimmy Evans on Twitter.
Jim E. Evans on Twitter, yeah. And Jim and Gemma are very sweetly sharing some headphones. So actually really quite nice. I should take a picture of this.
Yeah, it's good.
And we will put it on our social media accounts. It's actually a lovely... Here we go. Smile.
Oh, it looks like a dreadful duet.
It does, yes. It certainly isn't Band-Aid or Live Aid, which is what you were referring to before. Right, okay, before we get on with everything, and we have Richard Langley coming up on the phone a bit later in the show, let me do the messages, as they say. So I got the Twitter address wrong last week. You can follow us on Twitter at QPRPod. You can search for us on Facebook, look for the QPR podcast. If you are new to the podcast this year, we have several years' worth of episodes that are well worth listening to. You can go to our website at qprpod.co.uk. Thank you to all the people who've joined the pod squad for this year and supported us, and a special shout out to Noel Brosnan, who's kind of registered on that page. So thank you to Noel. Right, let's get on with talking about QPR. A most unusually satisfying and pleasing start to the season. Let's start. What was terrible about Saturday?
It was on Sunday.
It was. I set myself up with that one. Let's start again. No.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that was terrible about Sunday was...
I knew we could rely on you, Steve.
was the state of Gary Monk's language. Now, one of my friends on Facebook said that they sit in the paddock and they actually reported what he said, and I'm not going to even dream of reporting it. But let's just say for a guy whose surname is Monk, it wasn't very ecclesiastical. So
big words, I like it. And what I thought was interesting with Gary Monk, this is in the preamble, he gave an interview to Sky, and I know you go through the motions, but he literally spoke about a QPR side from about 4 years ago. It's like, well, they got bags of Premier League experience, they're proven at the top level, blah, blah. I was like, has he seen the squad recently? And I just thought, that was my first little glimmer of optimism. I was like...
and I'm surprised he's still in a job anyway. It has been one game.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, Steve, you were going to say.
No, I was just going to say, it became clear quite quickly that he hadn't done his homework, because certainly I think playing Chadipo was really, really foxed the Leeds defence. He had his defender on toast, and really the whole team was a revelation given some of the negativity around the pre-season friendlies. I thought that actually the performance that Rangers put together was very, very solid, very, very
cohesive.
Yeah, very cohesive, very, 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 very joined up. Lots of really good passing. Everyone seemed to know what their role was, and it was a real joy to watch.
Organised,
surprisingly good. I would say it was a disappointment, and I'm sure other people saw it too. Well, Ben Gladwin, if we're going to have to... It feels mean.
He ain't going to make it, that geezer, is he?
I worry
for him. He's going to have to sell the
Bentley.
Has Ben Gladwin got a Bentley?
The first thing he did when he joined QPR
Bentley Gladwin.
Was he Instagrammed a picture that week of his new Bentley that he took delivery of.
Hashtag Swazzy.
And then somebody obviously said to him, mate, get that off Instagram. It's not a great way to go. And it disappeared. But I did see it, and he did do that.
Was a modern
Swazzy is
over,
jet.
Swazzy is jet.
isn't it? Not.
Do you have a one-word hashtag for your?
I need one.
I know.
I need one.
Gladwin.
What's yours?
I don't know. I would like to come up with a word.
Can people who are listening to this send into Twitter what the QPR podcast one-word hashtag for life should be?
And what's
Podcastly, or maybe hashtag?
No.
Okay.
Pods? No. That's,
Hashtag pods.
Unofficial.
Hashtag unofficial. Sorry.
No, what I was going to say.
Carry on.
It feels harsh to single a player out because Shadipo faded, but you'd expect that with someone young and making a proper league debut and stuff. But Gladwin looked, hate to say it, out of his depth. He was lucky to still be on, and I was surprised that he wasn't taken off at half time.
Well, he was lucky to not get sent off as well with the challenges that he put in. But in his defence, I think he
Was Neda Manua. And that was a relief.
Well, apparently he said after the game, again unofficially, that he was carrying an ankle injury. The other thing is that I don't think Nedum did him any favours, to be honest, because it seems to be, for me, Ned is not a right back, and it's one of these successive managers keep playing Ned at right back, and I'm thinking I can't see why. And Ned seems to want pulling central, and Gladwin's obviously not being played as a wide right winger, and all of a sudden there's a great big channel of space for an Oppo player winger to run into, and I'm just wondering if there's not the same kind of level of understanding there. If you compare that with what happened on the left, you had Bidwell, who was supporting Shadipo. Bidwell was constantly talking to the young player, constantly sort of advising him where to go, and that felt like that was a lot more joined up.
Yeah, I see. I agree with that. The big thing that I learnt from Saturday was the size of Sebastian. Yes, first of all, that the game was on Sunday. I got there 24 hours early. Yeah, hashtag 24 hours early. Where was I going? The size of Sebastian Poulter's calves. Yeah. Did anybody see that? They didn't exist last season.
He has bulked up. I mean,
because he needed to.
Yeah.
I mean, crikey, the man is a mountain, isn't he?
But he was quite slight in some ways, and he's really filled out. He's kind of.
Does anybody know Hotshot Hamish? Anybody read Roy of the Rovers here? Anybody who's listening, you'll know.
I've read Roy of the Rovers.
I mean, the guy's thighs. It's.
You've spent a lot of time looking at
not
his
thighs, calves. What is wrong with me tonight? What is wrong with me? Not even thighs, calves. Talk about something else, Gemma. We haven't heard from you yet.
I need to spend some more time looking at Poulter. I mean, he's a big guy, as in his frame is quite. He lumbers. Well, last season I thought he lumbered around.
Yeah.
But and he
hashtag
ran through...
lumber.
Hashtag lumber.
So
what's your one-word phrase for life, Gemma?
Probably alcohol, realistically, or beer, anything.
I think mine's cholesterol.
Go on. Sorry, you were talking about the lumbering Sebastian Poulter.
No, I'm
of
a massive
2015-16.
Poulter fan. I was last season, and I'd be delighted. I mean, he for me is a real QPR player, and he's the one who I think Heath is going to have on his shirt this season. But I told him he had to have
Heath being your son, not the large expanse of greenery outside your house.
Actually, Heath,
right, just checking.
My success as a QPR child as opposed to the failure Arsenal one.
Yes.
But I told him he had to put BFG on his shirt. But he's quite risk averse. So he said he wouldn't do that.
Friendly?
Yes, I said it was friendly. And he said, Mum, it's not friendly, is it? And I said, well, yes, it is. And he said, no, I'm not.
Trying to corrupt your own child.
Well, no, somebody who said that on Live Sky. They did. There was a commentator, wasn't there, who was on Sky. So. I actually saw the clip, but I didn't know because I wasn't.
It was a German guy talking about Per Mertesacker, and he kind of just, because they have the same nickname
for Per
Mertesacker, and he just rolled off BFG straight away.
Yeah, but not the full.
Oh yeah, no, he did. He went. He is a big
live on Sky Sports News.
German.
It was funny.
Really?
Yeah.
And the Sky presenter sort of looked a bit shocked.
I'm available to do that. If Sky, I can pretend to be someone that knows anything and go Sky Sports. I live nearby.
So, are we getting carried away?
Yes.
With Saturday?
Poulter, I'm optimistic about Poulter. I was last season. I am again.
Well, look, we're gonna come up against better teams than Leeds. I thought Leeds were really quite poor, given that actually a lot of their fans were bigging up their prospects on social media beforehand. Kamal Roof looked a bit lost, to be honest. Their midfield didn't seem to have any power or pace about it, and yeah,
And they had a player called Ronaldo Vieira.
Brilliant.
And if you're called Ronaldo Vieira, you've got to be good at football.
There's only one way your life is going.
Yeah, exactly. He gave away the penalty, or I should say, he got mugged for the penalty. I mean, really, it was in front of the Loft. He did well. Cousins did well for that.
Cousins did exactly what he was hoping would happen, and then Vieira obliged, didn't he?
He was a professional about it, as they say.
But it was a penalty. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Michael Owen '98, where he dangled a foot and didn't really get tripped and won a pen for England.
What are you talking about? The Argentina game?
Yeah. Where
Wow,
he didn't get a pen.
Sure.
There you go.
Knowledge.
Look that up.
Knowledge.
Don't look it up. It's not worth it.
So one thing that football fans always lack is perspective before the first game of the season. Most definitely. Are we right to get carried away, or are Leeds poor with a very inexperienced manager who appears not to do his homework, as Jim said? Kind of very erratically run club. Was it just, we happen to do quite well against a team that's not particularly good, or are there genuine signs, or both?
Be in no doubt, we absolutely deserved that result on Sunday. It wasn't a fluke. We played really, really well. And yeah, I think you came up with the right word there, David. It was cohesive. But yeah, I think we'll get tougher tests.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, can you remember a better performance under Hasselbank at Loftus Road?
No, it actually sort of harked back to the first couple of performances just after he took over, where he went for that pressing game, and our players really couldn't handle it. They were blowing out their arses after about 55 minutes.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
And this was actually almost like the first time we've gone back to that style, and it was great to see after the pre-season and the changes to the fitness team at QPR that it actually worked, and it was a joy to behold, really.
Well, for me, as a typical pessimist QPR fan, I will obviously put that down at this point to amazing, wonderful beginning of the season. But we'll go back. By the time we play Swindon tomorrow night, which obviously will be interesting, I expect to lose because it's in my mindset.
That is the cup as well, though. So
yeah,
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
But I think the problem for us is if we actually then go and win another game.
Big problem, yeah.
Then
winning
we
2 games
become
in a row.
slightly hysterical and think this is it. And then it really is problematic.
Just remember, though, that when we went up with Neil Warnock, no one fancied us at all. No.
I was going to say the same. I was watching the preview. There was a big hour preview talking about the league and people that they, the chant who they rated, and QPR didn't get mentioned at all. And that's when we're better.
Yes,
I quite liked.
They can never predict the Championship. Nobody ever gets it properly right. Sometimes there's one team that's obviously better than everyone else.
Yeah.
But there's always kind of dark horses. There's always teams that they don't see coming. And I sat here last week in this podcast with people who I respect their opinion very much, and telling me that Villa and Newcastle are going to kind of almost piss the league, or they didn't quite say it like that, but that there was 6, 7, 8, 9 teams that were much, much better than us, and maybe they're right, and maybe one game, you can't tell after one game, but the Championship just always seems to be about the best coach, doesn't it?
Well, I think so.
The coach that gets the team playing and getting those results.
In the same way, like it's the whole thing with Ned being captain, all these things, we don't know what the feeling is actually like. And I think so much of it comes down to, in all these teams, what the feeling genuinely is. We know what we'll all be told, that they're really feeling positive, they're all on top of it.
Yeah.
But actually, it's only the people who are really inside who know whether the team is genuinely feeling very together and upbeat. And so you have no clue as an outsider what's going on with any of the teams. And I think that's actually what's key. It's irrelevant of many of the signings. It's how, and that again comes down to coach, but also the cohesion of the players they have got. And that goes such a long way, as in our Warnock years and our promotion when we had such a good team of players. So you can look at the bigger teams and the bigger signings, and we've been there and done that. But until it starts, until we're into the season of a few games, I think that's when you start to see, and especially if a team has a hard time, How they then react to that, and then how they play their next game, and how the manager manages that, is how then you'll see. So I think it's up for grabs completely, this league. More than normal, probably, especially because you've got people reacting in the way that we did, of trying to throw money at players and panic buying.
And what we've done, this close season, is that we've actually signed, I think, some really good prospects from like Jordan Cousins and
we haven't mentioned hilariously Yeti, and it's not Yeti, is it? It's Yenny.
Yeah.
And then I think. I think it was Emily texted me and said Yeti, or maybe it was a predictive text error, but now I can't get Yeti out of my head.
How do we pronounce
I can't
his name?
even go there.
Bakoto, apparently.
Yeah, I was thinking the N and K are silent,
Yeah.
right, at the start. So it's
Bakoto.
just Bakoto.
I'm relying
I can do
on all of the.
That's from FIFA.
All of the.
Hashtag sad.
Oh no, but he went up 5 points in FIFA, and Vardy only went up 4.
Wow.
So apparently this is very exciting.
It is.
Because nobody goes up 5 points, according to my Arsenal son.
I think it's just obvious that he's going to be
Arsenal
able.
son, whose name Heath gets a proper shout
the other one's not.
Arsenal son doesn't.
Arsenal son. He's just an Arsenal
We call him
son.
Arsenal son.
But it's obvious that he's going to be a world beater, because there's just so many people come out on Twitter and said that he is amazing. So we have all of a sudden have so many
experts in the French second division.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He wore a number 23 toilet tugboat physique toilet. That's why I used to call him.
You're talking about me then.
No, tugboat physique toilet. He vacated the number 23 shirt for Yenny. He's without club still, isn't he?
Is he without a club?
Toilet, yeah.
Okay.
The MLS is calling him, Junior.
Let's get on the phone our guest, with a bit of luck, former QPR midfielder, who can hopefully give us a bit of an insight on maybe bring us back down to earth on all this excitement, and tell us what he thinks about this season. Hopefully waiting for us now is Richard Langley. Thanks for joining us, Richard. We've just been talking here about getting carried away, which we're happy to do, at least for the purposes of this podcast, with Sunday's result. What's your view on the 3-0 win?
Well, it's obviously great to get off to a winning start, but the Championship, I've played in it for a few years, and it's unforgiving at times. You can go on a good run, and then all of a sudden you hit a bad run, and you're right down the bottom of the table. So it's nothing to get carried away with, but, it's obviously good to get the 3 points and get a good mood around Loftus Road, and I think that's been needed after the last couple of years that we've had.
We were just saying here about the pre-season predictions, which of course could still come true, about how there's many very strong sides in the Championship this year, and two of those sides that were expected to do really well didn't get off to a good start, in Newcastle and Villa. What do you think clubs need? What are the key ingredients to succeeding in what is a very tough division?
Oh, it is a tough one, because it is so unpredictable as well. I don't think there's any one key ingredient that you can say, right, you put your finger on it and that's going to gain you promotion. But one thing I would point to is consistency in team selection, just having the players know each other. You look at the Norwich team, for example, they've played with each other pretty much for the last 3 years. They've experienced a promotion together, relegation, and they're probably going to be favourites to go up again this year. Villa, although they're a big club, I'm not too sure how they're going to fare. They've got a pretty much disjointed squad at the minute. But yeah, if we can get a bit of consistency, you'd be looking to achieve, for me, a good season would be to achieve even mid-table. I think we need to be realistic about where we're going to set our sights, and just more of the consolidation that I think we were looking at last year is what we're going to need this year, in my opinion.
And I'd love to know your view about where you think the club is heading. Almost every podcast, we talk about the club being in a state of flux and a state of transition, and there's new management. There's always new management at QPR. Do you think they're on the right track now?
I'm still waiting to find out what kind of track they're on. But looking at the players we're buying, prototype has almost changed over the last, couple of years, where 3-4 years ago we were buying the top players, top wages. Now, I don't know how we fare in terms of the salary spent on the players, but it's nowhere near what we were spending 4 or 5 years ago. Maybe it's a good thing, but like I said, if we consolidate and try and pick up points, stay in the league, and then make a gradual build for it, gain that consistency, get a good squad, be faithful to the manager, give him a chance, see what he can do, and then take it from there. But I don't think we should be aiming too high right now, especially considering the teams that are in the Championship with us this year.
Thanks for bringing us back down to earth, Richard.
No, but come on, guys, let's be realistic. Last year, I don't know, people thought, right, we've got Austin and we've got Phillips, we should be getting promoted. And you could see a mile off. Consolidation, staying in the Championship was key. And I think we should have stayed with Chris Ramsey, give him a proper shot. But everyone panicked, and all of a sudden we thought, right, Austin and Phillips are staying, so we're guaranteed promotion. And it's not that easy. It's a work in progress, and that's something I think that the QPR fans need to realise. It's not going to happen overnight.
And let me ask you, Richard, and you get this question every time that we have you on, certainly, and I'm sure in every QPR-related interview that you do. You are the example that is always cited because you are that historical figure who was the last significant QPR player to come through the system and play and really make it as a footballer at QPR. You made your debut, I believe, pushing 20 years ago now. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but 1997, I think it was.
98, but yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, 18 years. A hell of a long time ago. Have you seen anything or have you heard anything, because I know you've got a lot of connections in the game, to encourage you that we might be close to a new Richard Langley soon at QPR?
I do get asked this question a lot. And my answer to it would be that there are players in there, just like I was a player 18 years ago. There are players with undoubted ability, but the only thing they don't have is opportunity. Now, I do believe if I was in the same shoes as the kids that have come through over the last 10 years, maybe I would have made it if you're not given the chance, There's a bit of luck, a bit of opportunity, taken with my hard work, a bit of talent, all mixed into one, and then you get a player that can have a decent career. But without the opportunity, the players are going to stay in a youth team and then be out of a job, which is sad to see. I would just like to see, just not just the QPR, but across the board, a lot of kids getting the opportunity to show what they can do, because it's proven when kids are given the opportunity, they can step up to the plate.
Hi Richard, this is Steve here. I had a question about general levels of fitness. There's a new fitness team at Loftus Road, and one thing that was noticeable on Sunday was that the players were generally a lot sharper and a lot fitter. It's a long season. How important, how significant do you think that change of personnel is in the fitness team?
Well, I don't know exactly what's changed since the new personnel has come in, but it's obviously good to have your fitness levels high. It's going to be important to maintain them throughout the season. So if you've got someone professional that the players can connect with, I think that's going to be very important. Steering clear of injuries is also going to be very key to the success of the season. But yeah, being fit, coming back fit, having good professionals around you and good staff around you is going to be very important for us to do well this season.
Hi, Richard. My name's James. I've got a different question. In recent years, kind of one of the best teams I saw in the Championship were Leicester, and they played a 4-4-2, something that I don't know if I've seen Jimmy play. Do you think that 4-4-2 is kind of your nuts and bolts best way to win the Championship? Because it is such a slog, and sometimes you've got to do some things by the basics a little bit.
Personally, I like to see a 4-3-3 played very well in terms of keeping the way I'd like to see it play. 4-3-3 in possession, a talented 4-3-3, in my opinion, will beat a 4-4-2 all day long. But if the talent's not there, in a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2 could capitalise and make their formation count. But you look at the quality this year, you look at Norwich, for example, I think they'll deploy a 4-3-3 of some sort, one up front being Cameron Jerome with your wide wingers. And they've got the good ball technicians in the midfield to take advantage of a 4-4-2. You know, you've got the technicians like Wes Houlihan, for example. You know, you get him with space and time on the ball in the Championship, and it's going to be a problem. So, for me, I would still like to see a good 4-3-3 work.
Richard, last sort of main question on the football. What do you think? What do you think we still need to add from what you know and what you've seen to have a successful season?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What do you think Rangers could do with adding in the next few weeks in order for us to have a successful season?
I think we need a bit of a threat up front, more pace, I'd say. I think Poulter he's looked wholehearted, he's 100%. Very committed. But I think to complement that, we probably need a bit more pace up front, maybe a bit more, not industry. They've got that in the midfield. I'd say a bit more guile in the midfield. You know, you're like your Ali Paulin, a player like that who can get his foot.
Kind of Richard Langley type.
Yeah, Richard Langley, Ali Paulin, you know, something like that. But again, it's going to take time. I don't think we can go all out and play the most attractive football. And I'll keep repeating it, consolidate, stay in the Championship, and build and build and build. That's the only way it's going to happen. I don't think there's any point trying to play expansive football and especially when the team aren't used to it, new manager, new players, etc. I think just consolidate yourself in the league and continue to build for the future.
Langley says realism. I think we got that loud and clear. Richard, what are you up to these days? Are you still in the game?
I'm working as a football agent right now, so I'm getting
Not
around,
pompous,
and unfortunately, I don't get to watch many of QPR's games. And as it's on my doorstep, it's a bit annoying. But yeah, so I'm up and down the country watching the players that I look after, and I'm enjoying still having my having a part to play in the game, so to speak. Yeah.
Cool. And you still say "we" when you're referring to QPR, so we'd like to hear that.
I do. I can't help it. Come on, I've been there. I was there since I was 12. You know, it just annoys me. It frustrates me that there was so much optimism last year, and to the detriment, I suppose, of Chris Ramsey. You know, too much expectation, I suppose, on his shoulders, and I think it was uncalled for. And I just hope we don't have the same again. You know, gone are the times when we're big spenders. You know, you look at the players we're buying now. We're buying good Championship players. We've got Jordan Cousins has come in. You know, okay, he's a good player, solid, but is he going to be? He's not top Championship. You know, he's a very good player, but we need to change expectations, I think.
I think many fans will agree with you, and we do as well. We probably needed this, Richard, because we were sort of starting to get a bit carried away here, talking about a good 3-0 win against Leeds, and we needed to hear it for sure. Richard, thank you very, very much for coming on. Always good to have you on. Always good to hear your thoughts on QPR, and we know you're a QPR fan like we are, so we always like to hear from you.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's great to be on the show, guys.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Richard. Take care.
Thanks, Richard.
Speak
Bye.
again.
Take care. Bye-bye.
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 Okay. Well,
My chips have been pissed on.
But probably necessarily so.
Well, if they haven't been pissed on by that, they will be tomorrow night. So
That's reality.
Oh, that was
Okay.
demoralising.
He's probably got it right, though, hasn't he?
Let's be clear. And I was thinking about saying this to Richard, but I wouldn't. I have too much respect. But we still are
So
in the
you'll
top...
say it when he's gone.
behind his back.
Yes.
We are still in the top 5 or 6 spenders this season in the league. Only the clubs that have come down, and then maybe Sheffield Wednesday. There's not that many clubs that have still spent a lot. We still spent... I don't know how much Yenny's gone for. We bought Yenny for, but I think that we spent Bakoto, £5 to £6 million. And then, I mean, you know, and then Burton never signed a player for over 10 grand.
Yes, I saw
Okay,
that.
right, fine.
Something like that.
So we've still spent a lot. I think Richard is downplaying not necessarily our expectations, and also the expectations from last season. They weren't set by us. They were changed by the club throughout, and that changed what we thought. Not kind of... I was happy with just finishing mid-table.
Yeah, I think most people were, actually, if you ask me.
Yeah, Richard, who's not on the phone anymore.
Yeah, just phone him back. We got it. Hi, Richard. Hi. Couldn't say it to your ear.
I don't know how helpful it is really sort of going back and questioning the whole thing about Ramsey. I mean,
no,
it wasn't a great situation, and I'm not that happy with the way that the club handled it, but it's gone. We need to move on.
Now.
Need to move on, and it actually looks like Jimmy and Les might have hold of the reins and actually know where they're taking us. So,
and I actually think everybody's been pretty forgiving and open-minded to Jimmy still. I mean, the Ramsey thing was very different. Not just the situation, but everything was very different. And I think everybody is so desperate, really, for it to work. Everyone wants it to work, and everybody is sitting back and saying, "Okay, let's see if we can."
Hashtag dream manager.
I was going to say one of the things.
That was Paul Clement. That dream manager was Paul Clement.
Was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Not who everyone thinks.
Who, before he went to Derby, and Fernandez apparently met him, got carried away. And that was who he was referring to, who it turns out wasn't a dream manager, but is quite a good assistant manager.
Last season was turned on its head by Fernandez and his management of fans' expectations. And I really hope that we have a season without him getting too heavily involved in that side of things.
Can't see that happening.
If he's shaking hands and kissing babies, and that's absolutely fine by me, but...
rather than shaking babies and kissing hands.
I don't want him kissing
get
any
Steve
babies.
onto Tony, and then we can do a whole pod on Steve and Tony Fernandez.
I don't want him kissing any babies. By the way, just sort of on Richard Langley when he briefly talked about Norwich, is there a footballer with a more hilarious name than Wes Hoolahan?
Well, they call him Wessie, don't they, as in Messi?
There used to be a Belgian footballer called Mark de Man.
Oh, no.
I like that.
I tried to write a question once for Pointless, which was nominative determinism. Your job ends up deciding what you do. And he
What?
inspired...
Nominative determinism.
Andre... Well, I don't know. Andre Serve.
Right, so like if Harry or Engineer, if his name was Press Record or something.
Yeah.
Or Harry Engineer.
Harry Engineer, yeah.
So there's a BBC weather forecaster called Sarah Blizzard.
Is there?
Yes. Steve, where were you?
And that's called nominative determinism.
Yeah.
Amazing. Every day's a school day, isn't it? Okay, let's talk about the cup. So if you're listening...
It's biggest round we're never in it.
If
Get
you
Richard Langley back on the
we're
phone
recording
now.
this Tuesday night. If you're listening to this Wednesday, fine. If you're listening to this Thursday, what
We're
a great
out.
win in the cup! Slightly serious question: Is it important this year? Are the cups important? We've not obviously a well-documented terrible record in cups in recent years. Is it important to get off to a good start, have a good run in the cups, or are they just sort of a distraction from the important stuff?
I'm a huge Cup fan. I always have been. I can't bear going out, especially it's the humiliation aspect of losing to Swindon again. But to me, there's no excuse for not going for the Cups. No excuse. Really...
I agree. Only 4 teams can win a league. in this country. So, I mean, it especially winds me up with Premier League teams, you know, when Tottenham, for example, talk about going for the top 4 rather than doing well in the Cups. What are you doing? How good do you think it's going to get? You are only going to win the Cup. So I agree, if we kind of brought that back to us, with it being a QPR podcast or the rest of it, of course, I'm totally with you. Cups all the way.
My personal view is that it's really good for the morale of the club to be doing well in cups, or at least having a go. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be old enough to remember going to Old Trafford for a quarter final where we lost 2-0 back in the 90s, and awful result, but absolutely.
Is that 96 or 97?
It was when Lee Sharp scored the second and did a shimmy at the goalpost.
I think I may be wrong, but 97 was the last time we got to the 5th round of either competition. It is.
I don't have that kind of encyclopedic memory.
No,
but
I checked it because it really bugged me.
But the whole point is I just feel a bit cheated that that's just that side of things at QPR that's just been sort of swept away. And it doesn't matter. And actually, I'm a little bit angry at the question, because it's kind of why, if it doesn't matter, why are we bothering?
That's modern football. Is asking this question: are cups important? Really?
Yeah, and if we were Man United, maybe we could say it's not important.
We're aiming for 10th. We're not concentrating.
Yeah,
on
no,
the cups.
exactly. I mean, you're not. If you're top 4 Premier League, I can get it, but for everyone else,
don't know about anyone else. I want to go back to Wembley and let's have another Bobby Zamora day. Yeah.
I mean, you're all talking about cups. All I can think about is nominative determinism.
Sorry.
whilst we're doing it.
But we have got the Dry World Cup, though, haven't we? So
yeah,
we have won a
exactly.
trophy
Dry World
this
Cup,
season.
the Ibiza Cup as well.
Cool.
We're doing
Scraping
that.
the barrel, no cup.
Yeah. I'll try and give you some more nominative determinism names at some
do.
point.
Does anyone
Please
know
do.
if Michael Doughty can play tomorrow night?
Or will he be a Doughty? Sorry.
Sorry.
That was terrible.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he be able to?
Because he's
Would
on
it
loan,
be
isn't
part
he?
of the
Oh,
loan
I
agreement?
see.
I think he may not play.
I
you
see
just
what you
know,
mean.
it's got it written all
Yeah.
over it, hasn't
Well,
it? He
totally,
sort of
that
sticks
was
into
my
all three
first.
against us.
Don't know. Sorry, go
I
on.
was just going to say, we looked really fit. There's not that many injuries in the squad. We should play
That's the
quite
word.
a strong team.
Yes.
And go for it. And just beat Swindon. We're at home, aren't we? Let's just try and win.
Going back to Gladwin, I think we should definitely play Gladwin again, because he looks like he needs minutes. And I would actually play
agree with
Perch behind him.
I think we will win, and win well tomorrow, and I'm putting it out there.
Richard, what do you think?
Richard, yeah.
He disagrees.
He disagrees.
We're out, yeah.
He disagrees. Okay, right. We're probably there already, actually, which is the ours end of the show, which is sort of anything and everything that you haven't yet brought up. I'll bring mine up, which is the David Beckham Sky advert. Has anyone seen it? Does anyone know what I'm talking
The
about?
jogging one.
The jogging advert. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And do you know why I'm bringing it up?
No.
I'm bringing it up because QPR is in that advert, winning 3-0 and top of the league. I promise you.
That's brilliant.
Somebody needs to send us this advert, and we'll tweet it. So if you haven't seen the advert, he's a Sky ambassador, David Beckham, and the whole kind of creative, as they say in marketing circles, is that he is running, going on a jog, and he kind of goes past a load of people watching Sky Sports. He runs past some builders, and the commentary says something like, and that's a 3-0 win for QPR, and they go from the bottom to the top of the league. I promise you.
I have to see this.
Wonderful.
You have to see this. What a great advert. Maybe a prediction.
Will they change the backing to that, though, if we lose to Swindon?
Probably. If you haven't seen it, see it. If anybody's got a clip of the ad, tweet it to the podcast or tag us in on Facebook and we will repost it. Who's next?
I've got two. Can I just...
Yes, you can.
One is actually not from me. It's from El Moji Dude in the Philippines, who is I'm obviously passing this over. It's nothing to do with me. Back to Poulter. Her question is... she was
Poulter
watching,
and his calves.
and,
What
well,
calves?
No, we're actually moving up.
What calves?
No, she wants to talk about his VPL. So her question is,
Right.
If
There's
So,
a lot
hang
of
on.
lower half pulsar
So
chaps.
VPL, for
this is
people
nothing-
who don't know, that stands for Visible Panty Line.
So apparently she was looking at Poulter's shorts, which were rather tight, which I didn't notice, didn't see. But her question is, if the lads arrive and they've forgotten to wear white boxers, do the club provide them? And my question was, is it part of the kit? You know, do they put out, because they're not
Some
thick,
tighty whities.
Do they put out? No.
do they put out?
Do they provide them with
Do
underwear?
they provide them? Or,
You-
do they have some spare
You mean,
ones looking around? If they're
you
wearing
mean
kind of-
Barry Shorts, the kit man, the nominative determinism kit man?
Yeah, Barry Shorts.
Yeah, Barry Shorts.
So that's a kit question,
Okay.
number one. My second one is I have seen the Pogba music video. So
was with Stormzy, I believe.
is that how it is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yes,
now,
yes.
should our new players for the media team produce a music video as a kind of test? When you join the club, you've got to produce
only
a
a matter of
music
time, isn't it?
video.
When we signed some guy from Scotland for
Blow the
700,000.
Wasn't two successive Christmas videos Armand
somebody
Traore's
did.
key contribution
That's
to
how he got his
QPR?
3-year contract.
I know, it's
from
amazing,
that
isn't
Christmas
it?
video.
I'll tell you what, the Forest Christmas video is going to be blinding this year, isn't it?
Well, we'll have to
One
have-
born every minute, isn't there? With him getting a 3-year contract.
Incredible.
Oops. Okay. Jim. And then James.
So alter ego, weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have an Ars, and I'm just trying to think. Okay, so we got let's win in the cup. That'd be nice, and let's not lose to Cardiff.
Oh, please, no.
I'd happily take a draw. Night, because I think we ended their playoff hopes last season, and I remember there were a lot of, there was all the press going, and then I think it just drizzled out. It was a 0-0. So it'd be nice to just continue that
3-0.
unbeaten run against Cardiff.
There's still a Cardiff thing, isn't there? It's 13 years later.
13 years.
Regular listeners may know that my father-in-law was a Cardiff City season ticket holder for a long time, and I saw him immediately after the game on Sunday. Went over to his as soon as I got there. You got lucky, David. You got lucky. Own goal. Like he just sort of swore that Anua's goal was an own goal, and you were only 1-0 up until 10 minutes to go, so you got bloody lucky. We got nothing to worry about next Saturday.
Wow.
I agree with you. Let's smash them. Steve?
I've got two really quick ones and one slightly longer one. The two quick ones, just really, congratulations.
We're all
to-
raising our eyebrows thinking, do we jump in with a sort of reference to a double entendre, or do we just let you do we just let you
I've got to get on,
go
Steve.
for it?
I'm going to go for it. Congratulations to Mide Shadipo on his debut, and you were talking to Richard Langley about youth players coming through, and it was only a few years ago he was playing at Rice at Rangers, so that is really, really good news. The second one is I want to wish good luck to Ali Forlin, who is signed
Absolutely,
for
yeah.
second division Spanish team Getafe.
Very
Nice,
good.
nice.
Very good.
Very good.
Very good. You are proud of yourself for that, and rightly so. Good pronunciation.
Yeah, but yeah, I think he'll do really well over there if he can stay fit, and he's been a brilliant for Rangers, and deserves all the success in the world. The slightly longer one is that I just wanted to keep the positive mood going, and say that David can't believe it.
I
but-
can't. Steve, do you know, we know you on Twitter as being the person who is always going to be the pessimist. So this is a real world
really
first.
positive.
There's a few. You're in competition with a few. for that.
I wanted to say I think the new badge is fantastic. I think the new kit is fantastic, and it's a real big up to everyone at the club who's made it happen. I mean, with the badge, it's a real triumph, I think, for pragmatism at the club. I know that for a fact that Lee Hoos was very keen to have some kind of crown on the new badge, and because it'd been advised that was actually something that would play well in the Far East, and actually, that's not something that we've got now.
What? Okay.
Well, it's one of the options we voted on
They were
still
going to
had
put
a
the
crown
Queen's
on it.
actual head on there,
Yeah.
so a picture of the Queen, so that they liked it in the Far East.
Crikey.
But anyway, we had got a great badge, got a great kit, and things are looking up.
Yeah, but what shit, Steve? Come on. Nah, I'm joking.
Let's wait till the
Swindon.
chairman starts tweeting again, and I'll let you know.
Alan Ball. Nominative determinism. Alan Ball.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And that seems like a good place to end the podcast. We definitely can't call this podcast nominative determinism because then nobody will ever find it in iTunes. But we've all learnt something this evening. Very quick predictions. First of all, and remember, you're going to look stupid with the Cup one because probably the majority of people will listen to this after the Cup. So Swindon prediction and Cardiff prediction.
Swindon, we're going to win 2-0, and I'm going to go for a draw away, but I'd love a win against Cardiff.
Gemma.
I'll go 3-0 against Swindon. Feeling optimistic. Cardiff away. I hope for a draw. I hope for 1-1.
Steve.
I'm being optimistic again. 2-0 against Swindon and 2-0 against Cardiff. I hate that a lot.
Punchy.
2-0, I'm going as well. Which will mean three of us think we're not going to let in a goal for our first three games of the season.
It's because Finney's not here.
He'll be back next week. We will be back next week. We were a day late this week for various reasons. We should be able to record next Monday and then every Monday thereafter. Thank you very much for listening. This has been the QPR Podcast.
QPR, QPR, Richmond Rangers are